Hello YouTube and welcome back to Be a Loser. A lot of people are confused about what exactly is going on when fasting. What's truly causing the weight loss? And so there are many people who will tell you that it's just glorified calorie reduction, and many people do legitimately believe that. So, are they right? Is fasting just glorified calorie reduction? Those individuals who tell you that fasting only works because you're restricting calories will intimate that it's the average number of calories eaten that's important. That is to say that to a calorie reduction supporter, it makes no difference whether you eat 300 fewer calories every day or 2,100 fewer calories only one day per week. I mean, it's still 2,100 total calories reduced for the week, right? 300 calories times 7 days equals 2,100 calories. Well, let's look at that in a different way, shall we? If you fall from a 1-foot wall 1,000 times, would that have the same effect on your body as falling from a 1,000-foot wall one time? Hell no. So why would it be any different in the calorie example previously? Simply looking at averages only tells us part of the story. What we need to look at is frequency, and that's the difference between success or failure. As we know, calorie restriction through portion control is the #1 recommended weight loss strategy by nutritional authorities today. It's also the highest recommended strategy for controlling type 2 diabetes. The suggestion is that reducing your daily caloric intake by 500 calories will trigger weight loss of about 1 pound per week. This advice has been pretty standard since the 70s, and even the ADA, American Diabetes Association, recommends it. But not only are you supposed to reduce your daily calorie intake, you're supposed to reduce it consistently throughout your day. Some dietitians will even recommend eating 5 or 6 meals per day. And due to this, we've become obsessed with calories. It's hardly possible to walk into some restaurants anymore without seeing the calories of every menu item. How many calorie counting apps exist on your app store? Do you ever wear a watch that tells you how many calories you're burning? And still, we as a society, hell, as a species, are getting fatter and fatter. In fact, there's data from the United Kingdom that supports the astounding failure rate of caloric reduction portion control. This mainstream advice succeeded in only 1 out of 210 obese men and 1 out of 124 obese women. That's a 0.5% success rate, or better stated, 99.5% failure rate. I find it hard to believe that 99.5% of people can't follow the advice they're given, especially when it comes to losing weight. I mean, we'll do almost anything to be thin again. The truth is that calorie restriction doesn't work. And why doesn't it work? Because of the metabolic slowdown we've discussed in previous videos. So to demonstrate this once more, let's look at what was a wildly popular reality show, The Biggest Loser. I mean, this show was the bigger, better version of Eat Less, Move More. The gist of the show was to reduce the caloric intake of the contestants by 70% down to about 1,200 to 1,500 calories per day, and couple that with an intense or insane exercise regimen. And it did work in the short term, and we've stated that it should as well in previous videos. Average weight loss for the 6 months was 127 pounds. And so this, of course, became immensely popular. USA Today scored this Biggest Loser diet as its 3rd best weight loss diet. However, it didn't hold up long term. A contestant from season 2, when asked why there was never a reunion show, said, "Because we're all fat again." And there's the rub. The contestants' resting metabolic rates, which, by the way, keep your heart pumping, lungs breathing, brain thinking, kidneys filtering, and so on and so forth, well, this RMR dropped significantly over the 6 months. In fact, it dropped by an average of 789 calories. That means the contestants were burning 789 fewer calories per day. Sorry folks, but that is not a metabolic increase. That's metabolic shutdown. And as the metabolism slows, weight loss plateaus. Reducing caloric intake has forced the body to reduce the metabolism in order to match. And once this occurs, you begin the ever familiar weight regain, even if you continue on the same caloric reduction. Even 6 years later, the body does not recover from this metabolic slowdown. We've previously discussed the science of this in another video. Feel free to rewatch it as a refresher. The problem is calorie restriction only works in the short term. Once the body is forced to reduce the metabolism to compensate for the reduced caloric intake, we enter what is known as starvation mode. The daily calorie restriction will always be met by a metabolic shutdown. It's not a matter of if it will happen, it's a matter of when. The trick to long-term weight loss is to maintain your metabolism. So what we have to do is to avoid starvation mode. And oddly enough, the thing that doesn't put us into that mode is actual starvation. So let's slow down a moment and refresh here. Starvation mode is the slowing metabolism that is caused by reducing the amount of food we eat daily. Starvation is removing the entire amount of food we eat for a defined period. And we do this safely by intermittent fasting. Now, if you go back and rewatch my IF series, you'll get all the science you need to understand why. But to make this very simple, the reason starving or fasting doesn't trigger starvation mode is simple. Your body has food stored as fat. Fat is the potential food energy that was not needed when you ate that food. So let's say 10 years ago we ate more than we needed for energy and that excess energy was stored away as fat. Well, today all we need is a way to let our bodies access that energy. And true starvation, which we achieve through fasting, allows for that. So in reality, we're not restricting our caloric intake. We're allowing our bodies to finally and wonderfully use our fat or stored food as the energy that it was intended. And the beauty is that the body will use exactly what it needs. No calorie counting required. As we've discussed previously, weight gain is not a calorie problem, it's an insulin problem. And insulin resistance is the main driver of obesity and type 2 diabetes. For more on that, you can check out my T2D series. And as we've discussed and shown through scientific data, fasting reduces insulin and glucose as well as reversing IR. But to show even the short-term superiority of fasting to calorie reduction, I'll summarize another study from this year. This study compared 0-calorie alternate daily fasting versus daily caloric restriction. It lasted 24 weeks and the CRAP group reduced daily calories by 400 per day, while the ADF group ate 0 calories every other day and their normal diet on eating days. As expected, both diets showed similar weight loss in the short term. We know that almost any type of diet will result in early weight loss until the body begins its push back to its homeostatic state. Remember homeostasis? Your body tends towards homeostasis. That is to say, it resists change. Yeah, I did mention that. But if we look closer at the results after 24 weeks, here's what we see. Fasting did account for marginally better weight loss. However, truncal fat loss, which is a reflection of visceral fat and more dangerous, was nearly twice as good from fasting. Fat mass percentage was almost 6 times better from fasting. Lean muscle mass loss, a huge concern and often vilified aspect of fasting, was significantly better in the fasting group. And lean mass percentage was 4 times better while fasting, meaning that calorie restriction actually burns more muscle tissue than fasting. And what about metabolism? Remember that starvation mode or slowed metabolism is what triggers the regain of weight. Well, in the study, the calorie restriction caused an average drop in metabolism of 79 calories per day. ADF only resulted in an average of 29 calories per day. And I know some people will point at that and say, see, but 29 calories per day is statistically insignificant against baseline. What this means is that your average daily energy expenditure or daily metabolism can shift that much naturally without dietary intervention, but not as much as the calorie restriction 79 calories per day. Bottom line, calorie restriction slows the metabolism 2.5 times more than fasting. And finally, the study reported that ADF was not associated with increase of weight gain. What? Weight regain? Yep, you got it. The number one problem with eat less, move more calorie restriction is weight regain. That's why it fails. That's why no reunion show Biggest Loser. And there we have it. Fasting works and calorie reduction doesn't. The fasting group tended to regain lean muscle mass and continue to lose fat. The CRAP group gained both muscle mass and fat mass. And additionally, the fasting group continued to fast. Hello? Wouldn't you? It's simpler than we think and has far better results. Again, all the facts are in my other videos, so watch the IF and weight gain series for more information. But the choice seems pretty obvious. Option A, calorie restriction. Less weight loss, more lean mass, aka muscle loss, less visceral fat loss, difficult long-term weight loss, more hunger, higher insulin, insulin resistance, 99% failure rate. Option B, intermittent fasting, more weight loss, more lean mass, aka muscle gain, more visceral fat loss, less hunger, lower insulin resistance, and used for centuries by millions. So the question shouldn't be, why can't I lose weight by reducing calories? It should be, why am I not fasting? Do I want 7 overcast, drizzly days with 1 inch of rain, a la eat less, move more? Or 6 beautiful sunny days and 1 day with a deluge, a la intermittent fasting? It's just that simple. And that's it for this video. New videos coming soon. Be sure to click the bell to receive alerts when new videos post. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter for updates. In the meantime, feel free to check out our fasting series here and our weight gain series here. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, keep being a loser.